gather round, my friends. Today we've hit a milestone. Hooray! Hooray! Episode 100, loud and proud. Though our math is wrong, we'll still sing it out loud. It's 100, yes, but really it's more. We've done 200 plus. If you check the score, from AV rants to the tech we adore, here's to the AV SuperFriends, may we do plenty more. We've puzzled over haunted halls, debugging glitches, taking your calls, with cables tangled, docks ignored, and Justin's budget tricks explored. Ramp! It's 100, yes, but really it's more. We've done 200 plus. If you check the score, from AV chaos to campus folklore, here's to the AV SuperFriends, may we do plenty more. Mark keeps us grounded with wits so quick, while Chris simplifies sometimes too slick. Larry reminds us to think of the through, and Jamie, well, he's frugal, cheap but true. Justin's metaverse antics are always a thrill. Even trapped in VR, he's designing still. We've tackled systems old and new, and things we swore we'd never do. Our jokes don't always land just right, but hey, at least we hit record tonight. It's 100, yes, but really it's more. We've done 200 plus. If you check the score, with laughter, lessons, and tech galore, here's to the AV SuperFriends, may we do plenty more. So here's to the podcast, the wins and flops, the broken mics, and who's gonna hit stop? We'll keep on going, the tech never ends. Cheers to the next 100 from your AV SuperFriends.
This is AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV SuperFriends.
For December 6, 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, episode number 100. It's the last one. We're done.
Yay.
Thank you, everybody. We're leaving right now.
Sorry.
Broadcasting live across 4 time zones, from coast to coast, easternmost to westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Dexter. Time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. With the extra AV SuperFriend has returned. So let's say hello to our august panel. Everyone is back. We'll say hello in a minute here, but let's first say hello to, hold on, this one. Say hello to an interactive assurance administrator from Kansas City. Welcome, Jamie Reinhardt.
That's assurance, not insurance.
Yeah, I need you to fix my car. Also say hello to a Dynamics Metrics producer from Corvallis, Oregon, Mark Kolozinski.
9mm. I'm telling you guys, we're going to have so many of these. It's going to be amazing.
Can it be flexible between 9 and like 9.5, so it's dynamic?
No.
Also joined by a very special guest, a human ideation synergist from Northern Virginia, Rachel Bradshaw.
Oh my God, the prodigal daughter lives.
Welcome, Rachel. Joined by Justin, stop doing that in the. I could see you doing that in the document. So, joined by a regional security strategist from Greensboro, North Carolina. Say hello to Larry Darling.
Yep, I just keep this little tiny area secure. Everything else is
within 3 feet of me.
It's an island.
Secure. And finally, we're joined by our illustrious Vice President for Regional Optimization from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
Do you copy and paste these from last week?
No.
This is fresh.
This is fresh content every show.
It's always. And then there's Chris, that guy.
All right.
Who just does this stuff.
Go back to the other. Let's go back to the full panel. Let me shut this up. Everything shut up. Why aren't you not shutting up there? All right. So yeah, this is the original 6.
Here we are.
We started right there. There we are. This is how it started, and we're still here. So
Somehow, as Joe is, all downhill from me. It's been nothing but downhill since the very beginning.
We've never really been uphill.
Yeah.
We're still
High.
But we're moving downhill very fast.
There's movement
So.
in a direction we can't tell which way it is. It's just into the future.
So and we'll talk some retrospective stuff in a little bit, but as a special teaser, I thought it would be fun to play this audio clip.
Ooh.
Let me know if you know who this is.
Ooh. Okay.
From September 11th, 2020.
Yes, remember this?
You're gonna do 9/11.
Never forget.
Remember this?
This was the original
Test
intro.
thing. Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Who did this?
I think I did.
Welcome
Mark
to
did this.
the AV SuperFriends show, where we
Mark
honor
did the
Holy
voiceover.
shit! I do not remember this.
conversation around the
Who?
relevant and
No,
relevant
What
it
is
may have
this?
never. No, because it was going back and forth.
Evolution
Chris and I were
and
explaining things.
revolutions
I sent it
happening in
over.
higher ed and professional.
I am so
From
glad
the
we
brief
didn't do
period
this.
when we considered
The AV SuperFriends.
being an adult AV podcast.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like
we should go with
broadcasted
this.
at midnight adult, like adult entertainment adult,
Happened?
not
No.
professional
This is
adult.
AV SuperFriends
Oh, no.
Off the Rails.
I don't think we
Almost
ever
regularly
considered being, like,
scheduled open
professional
discussion on
adults.
audio. So
Yeah,
some of the text is the same, but the rest of it. So I jumped right in here. I'll play back here.
No, I gotcha.
Oops. Unpause. Unpause. Why are you not unpausing?
No, no. See,
Audio and video.
Because we
Go.
deleted it.
Oh crap! I reset it. Hold on.
Let's separate this, right? So with the gig economy being, let's say, the Uber of AV.
This sounds terrible.
What's
Is
the
this
other?
on Zoom?
This is
I never used the stupid
what were we
services
using
'cause
at
they
this
don't
point,
come
Mark?
with the country. So there's Uber, and what's the other one?
Yes.
Lyft. There.
I don't know. I think we were Zooming early.
No,
early
the
days.
first couple were
Actors,
Zoom.
actresses.
That's going to be our next podcast, AV SuperFriends After Dark, launching in 2025.
We used
that was
video,
garbage.
The free
Garbage.
WebRTC video service. Chris.
Oh,
What
we
was
were
that?
using
Oh,
Video
yeah.
Ninja for a while.
Video Ninja for a while,
but
that's
not
what
for
it
the
was.
audio.
In fact, we even used it.
No.
No, didn't we
This
use
was
Clean Feed
this
for a
was
while?
Zoom, and then we went to
Where was
Clean
this?
Feed.
For instance, we had a situation.
So-
This number of PhDs
There's Rachel
out into
on
the
episode 1.
marketplace every year. And there is a teeny tiny number of tenured professor
all so young
positions
back then.
available on the job market.
You can just hear
We
it
all
in
had
their
such
voices.
bad microphones. So
Yes.
we were like in college and yeah.
We are still in college.
Still
we
in
work for
college.
university.
So
Yeah.
there's a blast from the past, episode 1, which we didn't even title appropriately. I think we called it the Menacing Phantom or something as a crappy Star Wars joke. But, the very next episode, by the way, we did use the intro we've been using for the last 100 plus episodes. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it only lasted one because that was
Hey,
bad.
that was a deep cut. I have that on vinyl, and it's like, I'm just.
by the way, if
rotating that.
anyone's interested, and I do have people every now and then who mention this, that they want to go back and hear all the episodes are still on the RSS feed. A lot of modern podcast applications will only go back 100 episodes, and there's far more than 100 episodes out there, but you can find all that stuff still out there on the RSS feed. So enjoy that.
But when
Or
will the
don't.
soundtrack be released? Because I'm going to need to spend that 100 episodes track
actually
pretty
have a
regularly.
soundtrack in production.
All right. So, I guess before we jump into the show at large here, so on today's show, we're going to discuss when AV was the most AV of all AV you could possibly be. We're also going to take a look back at our favorite moments from the last 100 episodes. But first, a little bit of housekeeping, and then we have something special for you. So, first of all, if you're listening to this later as a recorded MP3, we do stream live on Friday afternoons at about 3:15, 3:30 Eastern, 12:15, 12:30 Pacific, or whenever usually Mark shows up.
Wasn't
but
so
you
bad
can-
today. It was
You were
kinda here on time.
you were close. But
Fashionably.
you can join us live on Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube, and we can even take your calls live when I remember to start that system, which I did. So if I remember later on, we can do that. If you can't join us live, we still want to connect. We still want you to connect with us on the socials. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and YouTube to keep up with our latest updates and news, which is mainly just me and Larry posting stuff. And please don't forget to spread the word. If you could share this podcast with your friends, colleagues, enemies, perfect strangers, and anyone else who might enjoy it, or anybody else who might hate it. So if you could stand behind somebody too close in the grocery checkout line and like take their phone and subscribe them to it, that'd be great. If you want to support the show, please consider donating. Your contributions enable us to provide you with the honest content that you love or that you love to hate. So you can find the donation link in the show notes of this very episode or on our website or damn near anywhere. Or put a $5 bill into a self-addressed stamped envelope and mail it to Larry's house, care of the great state of North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
They'll find it. So
zip code 1 should be fine.
We do want to hear from you, so if you have a topic you'd like us to cover, if you want to yell at us about something we said, or you want to vehemently agree with us, then you can reach out to us on social media or hit us up on email, mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. And finally, while you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this, please go in and give us a rating. That rating bumps us up in the algorithms and will expose our horror to more people. So please do that.
Thank you all. If you've been the ones that are like watching those little reels we put out, amazing. Those are those short little episodes on YouTube. A bunch of you guys watch those, and thank you.
I don't know who it is. I think someone watches it 100 times in a row.
Bot
I'm
or
not sure how that
something,
works.
Thank you to that bot.
Yeah, it's been a great job.
Doing a lot of work.
Russian bot.
And now here's where we normally say you waited all week for it, and we get to hear Justin sing along with the news theme, but we don't have that this time. Instead,
I got news.
We have news from Justin. Do you still want the news theme? You want that? You want to sing along anyway?
Yeah, get in the
Hell
just
yeah.
I don't
hell yeah. You know that whole
second.
Yeah.
Okay, Justin. What's your news?
Rachel knows my wife, right? Lauren used to work at AVSF a long time ago. Well, we like to go to the movies, and she decided, hey, I just saw this 4D movie experience, so let's go to it. It's like, yeah, sure. I'll try anything once.
Where was that advertised? Where did you see like 4D?
Well, she works in Nashville, so obviously the movie theater is in Nashville at the Opry Mills Mall, and it's just a 4D experience. And I didn't Google anything. I was like, fine, let's go. Let's rock it out. Let's do this. So she talked with somebody else about seeing something online about it and how they were completely drenched walking out of the theater. And I was like, okay, well,
this feels bad. Like just from what you've already said, like this.
Yeah,
but okay.
So we're like, okay, fine. So we get in the car.
World or something.
Yeah,
Like
basically.
the number of public spaces I'm willing to be wet in is small.
I assume like what you said right there.
And
this
it's
is
winter.
The Titanic experience down in Orlando.
It's winter.
You're just there getting drenched with wet
No,
water.
we're going to go see Gladiator, the new Gladiator, right? So she's a big Gladiator fan, likes the first one.
Well with a 4D experience.
4D experience,
The
probably.
previews make that look like a very dry movie. Like it's sort of dusty in nature.
Except for the sweat and the blood.
Well,
the sweat and blood.
Yeah.
115 degrees in the theater.
So
People
it's not from the
sweating their
bodily
butts off.
fluids.
Right. So we don't really know what to experience. Like we've never been to one of these things before. So what we get to Bass Pro Shops, we park because that's what you do.
What'd you get there? Anything
We
fun?
have to walk through Bass Pro Shops
He got
through
some
the mall
bass.
to get to the theater, right? So once we parked, me and her ate our gummies because that's what we do before we go into the movie theater. And that's going to be our experience.
So many other questions now.
So we come in, and I start observing things. Correct? I start looking up and looking around, and I've got a
You should
list
ate those
of
gummies like on your drive. I just want to say,
No.
like 45 minutes kind of a thing. But okay,
No.
carry on.
no. So like they're
It's a long
pretty
movie.
they're pretty fast acting. So anyways.
Shit.
So we walk in, and I start to look around, and I made notes of like things I observed. The chairs were all in groups of 4, and they were all elevated a little bit, and they had like little actuators and mechanical stuff. They had tubes hanging out of them. I was like, holy
Were you
shit.
concerned
They had
at that moment when you saw that? You're like,
No, I wasn't really. The concern part is coming. Like you'll know when I start to get concerned. I'm kind of
I
aloof.
was already.
I'm aloof. I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be something. If you ever been to a 4D movie experience, you're about to understand what I'm about to say.
edge of my seat.
So there's a button on the armrest that says water on, water off. And Lauren, like very worried about this because it's freaking winter out. Like, yeah, I'm turning the water off. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to leave mine on. Because I'm noticing.
She's sitting next to you, right? So yeah,
she's
what's the worst that can happen?
she's
I don't
close.
mind
I've
being a
got
little
strangers
moist when it's cold outside. It's all right.
But I'm observing the seats are like made of leather. I mean, they're cloth. I'm looking around. There's not a lot of waterproof things. So I'm like, I'm going to risk it. I don't think the movie theater is going to drench these seats and have to worry about mold and cleaning.
The theater should have had the floor wet. When you walked in, it should have been
it was completely dry.
Like, it should have been like, what am I?
Everything. I was like, I'm going to risk it. So my biggest concern was, okay, the dogs just got home from doggy daycare, so you're going to see them pop in. Anyways, there she is right there.
Is this part of the story?
Hey, Lauren. Yeah, this is part of the story. Hey, Lauren, I'm telling the movie story. Oh, she says. So, yeah, she hasn't fully recovered yet. Did you all hear that? Tubes hanging out of the seats. Let's see what else. Oh, fans. There's a lot of fans up in the corner of the room, right? I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. There was a very specific place to put your seat. It was almost like a roller coaster type seat. Okay, so like a barber shop.
Was there a lap bar in this?
Like
thing?
a barber shop chair. That's exactly what it was like. But again, I noticed everything was cloth and all of that stuff. So I kind of settled. There's no seat belt. I want to make sure that everybody understands that there was no seat belts involved.
Should there have been?
Did you have to sign a waiver at any point?
Oh, was it like a lift ticket? It had like all the stuff you had to sign.
There was no warnings on the door.
When you stuck it to the zipper.
If you recently had surgery, please do not enter this room. There's no. If you're over the age of 65, please consult a physician.
Warning, man.
Was there must be this tall at least? Like
there was none of that shit.
No,
there was
put soap in your shoes to get in.
No soap in the shoes. Nothing like that. It was
okay.
So previews start. Previews is normal. So you're kind of going through. You know how they have the roller coaster preview part to get like. Zombified to get you buy snacks.
The roller coaster preview part. Unpack that for me.
So like Regal has this preview thing where you're
like
in this.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, they're like a Coke bottle hits you in the
like,
face and all that, and you whiz by all the Skittles and shit.
Roller coaster, yeah.
Yeah. That's not moving the chair. That's not.
There wasn't some kid throwing
There's
Skittles at you?
It's not part of the immersive experience.
Not immersive experience. So we're
Seems
all
like a missed opportunity.
we're all chilling. I got my popcorn
in your face.
Money back for this.
I got my sour Skittles. You know, gummies are good. We're rocking, and I look over and I was like, hey, "Wifey's okay. She's sitting there. She's got her jacket on." So the last preview hits, and I was okay.
Wait, so it started moving?
Oh yeah, okay. Was that a calibration, or is that part of? All right, nothing else really happened. Okay, the lights go off. Shit hits the fan. Okay, so I don't really know. I can't really explain every detail of this.
Do your best.
But
we're helping you. We're here for you.
So when there's fighting happening, I'm not saying your chair is shaking. I'm worried about staying in the MFing chair. I'm over here doing this, and I'm kind of in my own little world right now, and I'm just enjoying the theater.
No, you're not.
And the movie. But remember the 4 banks of chairs. So you know how a teeter-totter works, right?
Oh no.
So wife is at the end over here, and I got 2 strangers over here, and there's this. So I'm sitting by dude's wife, and then dude is at the far end.
What's his name?
I happen to look over at Lauren, and that poor woman's her head.
She's petite.
Concussion.
She's not a large person.
And there's arrows flying by your head, and there's these little wind actuator things that
arrows flying by your head. Oh
yeah, like in the theater, but like you feel it because there's air pockets. And like,
do you have 3D glasses on in this by chance?
No, there's no glasses.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
Thank God.
I look over at Lauren. She's holding on to dear life, and every time one of those arrows passes, her hair goes poof, and she's over there like, son of a bitch, God, dear shit. And she is rocking harder than I like. Bruh, she can't eat her popcorn, and I'm over there kind of eating popcorn, watching the movie, laughing. I was in tears, laughing so hard. I tap her on the shoulder, and she punches you in the face. She starts laughing so hard. You can't your eyes are rattling to where you can't see the movie. Like we have to rewatch the movie.
Didn't even get to see it at all. It's just
no, and it's Gladiator, so 80% of the movie's fighting. And like when the horse happened, like when you're riding the horse, or you're not even riding the horse. You watch somebody ride the horse. I'm like, oh my God, was that a horse or was that a dragon? I don't know what that was. I couldn't see it because my eyes are rattling in my freaking head the whole time. I don't know. My back hurt for a week after that. She has complaints about, I don't know if she's walking straight still. I'm not exactly sure. We might have to go to a doctor. There needs to be some serious, I didn't have to sign a waiver. There is no like, hey, are you guys sure you're ready for what's about to happen in there? There was the concession stand people didn't warn us. I look over at the people at the right. I was getting hit with popcorn and drinks from their side. I
mean, how was the projection?
I didn't see
Who knows?
it.
Exactly.
Who knows?
And then whenever there was nothing happening, like
what
the
speakers were they
fans
using?
Yeah.
I don't know. The fans
I need to know what the
blow the
processor
breeze
was.
as people were walking through the fields and stuff. That was kind of nice. The horse thing was the only thing, like when there was a fight scene and somebody get hit in the back, you know, your lumbar adjustment in your car, put that on like turbo. It was like a boom. And there's these things that are, I'm like, son of a bitch. I was like, I wanted to get in the fight with the seat because it was, you know, come on.
So good.
And they had, I don't know if you like if you like roller coasters and you don't mind to leave a theater injured, you can go to a 4D experience.
No.
No, I have a lot of questions about this. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, here's my first question. This 4D theater is not a Gladiator 4D theater. It's a general
It's just
purpose.
a standard Regal theater. Like you can go to Nashville to Regal Theater, and probably it's in all big cities, I guess. It's 4D experience. And I don't, you know.
So theoretically, I could go have my Gladiator
Go watch Wicked
4D experience, or go have my Wicked 4D
I wonder if Wicked
experience.
would be. I think the movie
Does
might
Wicked
have
have the
been
horses and arrows and stuff too?
Well, see,
I
Wicked
mean-
might have been better because, like, if you're flying on a broom and they just tilt the chair gradually, that'd be nice. You know?
Oh, I don't know. I've
data
seen that
track of this
that
look like?
defying gravity scene. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure you
well,
would puke. Like,
okay, maybe.
It is intense. Like I think the Cynthia Erivo Ariana Grande press tour does not do justice to how grandiose John Chu's directorial stylings are. But here's my question, right? Like, it's the same theater for any film. Who is creating the 4D experience? Who is designing this aspect of your theatrical experience? I don't think John Chu is involved, or whoever directed
I think they just
Is it
Gladiator.
part of the
triggered-
automation track? Like, is it a hidden track with data that's like comes along with the distribution? Like, here's your 4D data.
It's
You
got
know,
Or is there like a
What is that?
guy? It's
Weathers and
We're gonna
gears.
get it today.
He's
I'm
shaking
gonna
his
hit it
head and
extra
says,
hard.
"You
Who
see
is
that a-hole down there in the
laughing
blue
his
shirt?
ass
Watch this."
And the mist, the water, that was never the problem. Like the mist popped up, I was like,
Fine.
Refreshing
yeah, that
after
was
being
fine.
beat to
Yeah,
shit.
whatever.
Yeah, is it
There was
like
no-
manual?
Right from the
I'm
urinals.
curious. If you're here, and you're listening to this, let us know. Like, how is this actually orchestrated? Because
I would
is
like
it
to know-
automated, or is it like manually real time? Human.
Yeah,
induced?
it's got to
Is
be
there
automated.
a wizard behind the
Yeah.
curtain?
I mean, it's definitely automated because the punches in the back, like they
Perfectly
hit right
timed.
on time.
DMX
I mean, it was
yeah.
like, "Gah." But the tilting of the chair and the forward and back as someone was fighting, I think that's
It
really
just
what
seems very
it ruined
disruptive
everything.
for a feature-length film. I mean,
Exactly.
it's one thing to be in like a 10-minute short that's, haha, that was funny, Toy Story or something, but I don't, a feature-length film, and especially like a Gladiator, which is 2 hours plus, isn't it?
And very
and-
kinetic.
That's just
I
a
think we
lot.
just needed to turn the decibels down on the chair movement a little bit. I think the arrows I can understand. The fans were great. She bought the tickets. I'm not sure, Aaron. Like she always pays for the movie tickets. That's part of her budget.
We see how this is.
Yeah.
So I mean, but let's for real. So this is your standard classroom, right? This is what you're putting in.
Yes, is this going to lead to immersive experiences in all our learning spaces?
Yeah, immersive isn't always the best. I mean,
So
that's not.
This is leading me to a thesis about immersive experiences, which is that it's not that they're bad, but it's that they can be. And I think you should pick, right? You should only try to immerse people in one or maybe two senses at a time.
There's a lot going on there. It was a lot to handle. I probably should have asked for a refund.
How much was
Or
it?
at least
How
a
much
seatbelt.
how much did the gummies play into this? That's my real curiosity. Like,
I think that's the only
was it
thing
a-
that didn't make
an
us leave.
amplifier?
I think that's. I
Like
think
you
that's the
would have
only
been making
thing
clearer decisions.
that kept Lauren in her seat because she was glued, man. She was like, holy, she was holding on for dear life, and I was over there just laughing and crying, like, ah! You know, I could barely keep in the chair.
I'm assuming that you guys had your gummies and you weren't actually at a movie theater. You're at somebody's house.
Like this never happened.
Just
They were trying to get
It's
you
like
to
a
leave.
very powerful
We
shared
parked-
delusion.
At
These
Bass
were the
Pro
laced
Shop.
version.
yes.
You were just
Gummies
parked in
dipped in
front
some
of the
LSD.
fish
No.
tank
Don't
the
worry
whole
about it.
time.
We were there. I promise. Our back hurt for a week after that. I promise. We were there.
Oh boy. Yeah. So okay.
Well, this sounds like something we all need to investigate immediately.
Yeah, that was not fun. We're not going to go back.
It's
not gonna
been
go back?
advertised with the Microsoft Teams and some
it's
of the
coming.
manufacturers, the immersive
Ooh,
experience.
4D
I think we need to
MTR.
bring it. We need to bring it.
40 MTR. You're right. Only in your highest level corporate spaces that need it.
Yeah,
So
in the
audio,
C-suite.
Cheers, man.
Every time the CEO announces this quarter's KPIs, everybody's seats like jerk to the side.
Punched. Yes.
It was almost as if they were trying to give you that first person experience, but the movie wasn't in first person. There was like a big disconnect, and I just felt they were shaking you like a doll during a fight just because they wanted to, you know?
Well, this is on a slightly more serious note. This is both why like the Sphere experience in Las Vegas works and why it's not scalable. Because all of the shows that happen in the Sphere are specifically designed for that space and not replicable to any other space.
Right. Like what I noticed is the arrow's coming this way, but guess where the wind's going? That way, because it's coming from the chair behind you that you're, and then
So what you're saying is that alone just took you
Well,
out
it
of the
threw
movie.
me off.
You lost all immersion.
Broke the
I'm
fourth
just-
wall.
Well, I mean,
There was just a
it's
lot
every
of it-
little thing because
Yeah,
the theater is
it's all of
not
it.
designed to be in alignment with the content you're seeing. It's just like you have what you have in the theater. You create some automations that you can do with the stuff that you have there. And then those automations may or may not do anything to actually immerse you in the content. They may just, wiggle you around, dump you out of your seat, make you throw your popcorn over your shoulder.
Sounds
And
like a college party.
yeah,
Throw
throwing
you around a
some
little
gummies
bit,
is a
wiggle out
good
of your
time.
seat,
Yeah, pretty much.
trying to make your way home.
I think the gummies were the only
This is
thing
some
that
really
made it
AV Super
tolerable.
Friends After Dark content.
Friends after dark.
It's like, holy smokes, man.
I'm just seeing like one of those elaborate massage chairs just set up in.
It's kind
cheap
no. It's think of it like a that's me right there, but that person has more hair. But that's basically how it looked, except the screen was in front of me and not behind me.
Well, you weren't paying
Thanks,
attention.
AI.
So.
Yeah,
Well, how about this one? Is that better?
that's more appropriate. That's actually what the seats look like. They were big, barber type, raised up.
Did you get a haircut while you were there?
No, I cut my hair last night. Thanks for noticing, though.
Man, that's awesome.
This man is also not having a good time.
The adventures in AV.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. So, so you said you're never going to do this again, huh?
I kind of.
Or
I
is
want to
it
go
content
see.
specific? Is it like everything? It's got.
Well, I want to do a
content
little bit
specific.
more research, and I want to go see maybe one more movie to see.
Why?
No.
You just
Like, I
said
wanna
it was a
see-
horrible experience.
No, I want to see like Sesame Street, and
Yeah,
I want them to
wanna
like
see like a
rock the-
rom-com in this movie.
I want to see something that's like so boring and bland that I want to see if they're just shaking you like a doll just to do it,
I can't
like no
imagine
rhyme or reason.
exist for that. But okay, yeah, let's go.
I don't even know what other movies they they show in that? I guess I can. Let me see.
Find a legal drama. That's what you want.
Yeah, My Cousin
Regal,
Vinny.
Yeah.
4D Regal.
I was thinking more like Kramer
movie
versus
theater.
Kramer. Something really intense. that
There's
has
one in Atlanta.
All the explosions.
Oh, I like the idea of like being able to
40X.
feel Joe Pesci's spit on my face
Just the water.
when he's going, does the grit absorb water in your kitchen?
So here's a whole menu of where they are. So there's like
we can't see
Chicago and Honolulu
we don't see any
and
of this.
Yeah, we're
Like,
not
yeah,
getting
I
a
know.
commercial here. We just
Well, I'm trying to find the movies.
He's warning people where not to go.
Yeah.
Avoid
They're
those
in
things.
Chicago.
Like
don't
Mona,
go
Wicked, Mona 2, Gladiator 2, Y2K. What the fuck is it? Werewolves. Don't see that werewolves
That's the
movie
AV
there.
SuperFriends After Dark version of that film.
Sonic 3? Hell no.
I think Moana
that
2
would
would
be
be a real high risk, high reward
Yeah, I think
4D
that's
theater
too.
experience. That would
Like,
that would be
maybe-
the one. Because maybe they've turned things down a bit so they don't dump the kids out of the chairs.
I
But
don't
water
know.
is
Think
gonna be
they've got the
all-
water actuators
It's
dialed
all
up to
around
11.
water and boats and action. Yeah, that one probably was worse.
Craven? Homestead?
Okay.
Pushpa?
So-
I don't know what Pushpa
Immersive
is.
experiences, mileage may vary. Is the
Be
I think-
careful.
I think
See your
Aaron had it
doctor.
exactly right. Like, you need custom content and custom venues to make these things work. And when you and this is why I'm a little bit skeptical of them outside of the field of like pure entertainment. Because of that, they are not scalable, except on when you are doing like a single sense at a time and you're talking about like, say for instance, immersive audio where you have like that super deep bass that makes you feel like you have physical actuators, but you don't actually. Like, you can scale that. You can't.
I was kind of
this.
expecting that, more like rumbles
Right.
and not just fury and rage of 10.0 earthquakes. And just, I don't know. I was just, it was comical. It wasn't
Well,
even.
I mean, and that stuff's more effective, right? In tricking your senses. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember, but like back when everybody was going all in on the metaverse, there was some really interesting research. I think
Chris,
it
talking to you.
I think it was Microsoft, but it might have been somebody else who just put wristbands around people's wrists and had them and used those to do like slight squeezes. And with those squeezes and the like immersive audio and video that you got through the headset, you could really trick people into feeling things, like feeling like they were picking objects up or like they were catching things, or it takes subtle indicators to fool your mind. If the indicators are too strong, then you're like, what the fuck is that? Oh, sorry. I forgot how much I'm allowed to swear on this podcast.
No, it's okay. We're all right. It's fine. I think
You heard Justin. I mean, come on.
I said MFers.
See, I'm curious about this whole thing. Does this set the stage for like the syndication of amusement parks? Like, could we have movies that are like this? Here's the rides, like the cheap version.
I will say that where you're going with this is like the water slides with the lights and how the patterns, that's kind of cool. Like do that on top of a roller coaster. Now we're getting somewhere. I think there's some things here because if I'm on a roller coaster, I expect that kind of
production value.
If Chris lended you his goggles and you were there with your goggles on and you were riding this whole thing in Spain, would
It's the only place goggles go.
Yeah.
down the water slide, like
The water slide,
waterproof
you're feeling the water,
goggles.
somebody there spitting at you, whatever it is, and then like there you go, right?
I think that's a different
the poor man's
Joe Pesci
version of
spitting
going
at
to
you.
like Disney or whatever. I don't
It's
know.
a different type of club, Mark.
I think that's different.
Weirdly, it's like the rich man's version of that, because who this is available to is the weirdos who have bought $5,000 Apple headsets so that they can pretend they're not on an airplane.
Oh, we just lost 7 listeners, Rachel. Thanks.
No, I love weirdos. You're my people. Come back.
Let's face it, here we are. So,
if they already hang up, they're not going to hear you.
Oh my God, we've lost so
You're
many
gonna have to
listeners on this.
Scream louder.
all right, so I'm in.
I'm all in. I'm going to see a 4D movie.
I think you should do it once, but like if I was mentally prepared, I wouldn't have been so shocked about.
I'm sorry, but what were you expecting? Like,
Oh,
there's
I'm ready to
no
scar
way
my
you
children
didn't know what
permanently
was gonna
tonight.
happen.
I kind of knew, but not to that degree. Like,
Yeah.
there's pain, and then there's pain.
I mean, I've experienced a 4D movie, but it was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I was 18 years old, and it was a 15-minute short about riding a roller coaster.
See?
So I'm not sure. I'm not
Wait,
sure
in
I'm ready for
Gatlinburg,
that.
why didn't you just go out and then ride a roller coaster?
Yeah.
It was probably
Well,
the training
that is
video
in
for
Pigeon
it.
Forge, Chris. That's a
Yeah.
whole different experience.
That's next county over. We don't talk about them now. Down here.
It's
I'm not going all the way to Sevierville. Are you kidding me?
Severe.
5 miles away in a whole new world.
It takes 30 minutes to get there.
All right. Well, Justin, thank you for your vignette there. It was overly realistic and has scared most people away from ever visiting these theaters.
I hope I help someone out there to decide, like,
The PSA.
not to do that.
We now know who will not be sponsoring the show.
Regal.
So Joe says he saw one in a 6D theater. I want to know what's 5D.
What are the other dimensions?
Did we miss a D?
I don't know. But the 4D didn't even have a 3D visual. It's just like wind, water, earth, and rain, or so. I don't know what it is.
See,
Well,
that's
and I
why you
mean,
should
like,
have
I do
demanded
have a
your
lot
money
of
back.
questions about this because this is my other point: is don't we already experience all movies
like
in
4DX.
because the fourth dimension is time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like to
I
watch
think it's
the
a
end of the movie
marketing
before the beginning. So
I think it's a
really get that
marketing
4D experience.
term.
All right, well, let's take a quick break. No, I take that back. We're not going to take a quick break. We're going to take a break, but it's not quick. So we have and I was prepping the rest of the crew here before. We have not our regular commercials, the type of commercials we normally run. We have some special audio messages from people who want to give their own little retrospective on 100 episodes of AV Super Friends. So we'll run those. We do.
Wow.
So I'll run those, and you can enjoy them. And when we come back, we're going to talk about when AV was the most AV of AV stuff. So, Jamie, let's put up a card, and I will run one of these things.
Oh, the AV Super Friends podcast, where AV stands for actually verbose, because somehow 5 AV professionals with more acronyms than ideas managed to turn everything into a 90-minute debate about HDMI dongles. It's like watching a tech support call that no one asked for, but somehow still ends with, "We'll pick this up in part 2. The cast of characters: Mark, the self-proclaimed veteran of events, a.k.a. the guy who probably keeps a milk crate of VGA cables in his trunk, just in case. Hates documentation, but will spend 20 minutes documenting why he hates it. Jamie, on a mission to prove that cheaper is better, even if it means daisy-chaining 3 Raspberry Pis to run a projector. Half his dialogue is, "We didn't really need Crestron for that." Larry, the so-called grounded one, who insists on thinking about the students. Adorable. But come on, Larry, we all know no one reads the user guides anyway. Chris, the keep it simple guy, which is ironic given he's the first to spiral into a 10-minute rant about AV over IP standards. Simple? Sure, Chris. Keep telling yourself that. Justin. Poor Justin, still stuck in the metaverse. He's like a ghost haunting the podcast. If ghosts interrupted with, well, actually, every 15 minutes. The content. The podcast is a fever dream of cable management nightmares. Discussions about AV best practices that sound like rejected TED Talks, and the occasional tangent into why they think they're the Ghostbusters of higher ed tech. Because no AV problem is too small, no IT admin is too clueless. The audience. This show is for anyone who has ever cried over a Zoom update mid-meeting or debated the merits of 4K in a 40-seat lecture hall. In other words, it's niche, but the kind of niche where everyone's LinkedIn headline includes AV enthusiast and their profile pic is a badly lit selfie in front of a server rack. So, if you like your podcasts like your AV setups, over-engineered, filled with inside jokes, and just a little haunted by poor planning, the AV Super Friends podcast is the show for you.
Well, there you go.
Was that a compliment?
No.
You're
Okay.
No, it was an accurate assessment.
That was a legally specified
Is that our
assessment.
Yelp review?
Yes.
I thought it'd be fun to roast our nonsense.
Yeah, it was a good roast. It is different.
I like it.
Oh, we got another one coming up after this. But anyway, okay, so
And you can do it with 3 Raspberry Pis, you jerk.
you did daisy chain 3 Raspberry
If I do
Pis.
it too now.
So for our first topic, after 30 minutes, but 40 minutes almost, which we'll keep short here, so we're not here all afternoon. But I think, Mark, you raised this from the perspective of like IT people. AV is kind of like this mysterious, like random proprietary black magic voodoo religion that just occurs with a bunch of people with all black clothes and greasy long hair.
We swoop in under the cover of darkness and fix things and scurry off in the background. But when was that? When, like, we all recognize.
Well, I think we all enjoy that. Yeah. But yeah, when was AV the most AV of
when
all
was the
AV?
most AV time that I believe, or that people widely believe, gave us kind of the belief of what it is you guys do? Because you AV folks do all the AV, and that comes from some type of belief structure, right? So when was that? When did that happen? Because I think we're still trying to shed that.
So
that
sometime after VCRs.
We are shedding. We're trying to shed that.
Well, maybe not. Maybe
I don't think everybody is.
Some people are trying to cling to it.
I think a lot of people would like that back because it gives them something to lean on.
So when was that? When was the heyday? When do you think like the definition of like the AV tech?
That's going to be relative.
When did it happen?
Yeah,
that's going to be relative based upon personal experiences.
There are concrete dates I can give you.
Oh, Larry.
Okay, never mind.
Larry's
It's objective and measurable.
2001.
Because I was thinking the same thing, Justin. I was like, it depends on your age and things, and that's when I was like, well, you know, the AV Club and the 60s, you know, it was the
Go ahead, Larry. What is it?
8mm films and then TV carts. So what is it, Larry? Where are we going?
If we're
here?
looking at the industry as a whole, like, yeah, those AV carts were cute and all, but there was no mystery. There was no great experience with that. Like, the industry as a whole made huge
Movie
jumps.
Day was the best.
I had great experiences. I don't know who the hell you are in North Carolina that thinks
But
you're
they
too
were
good than
easily
to TV.
explained. Like, if a 10th grader can roll the cart in and set it up, there's no mystery to that. There's no
Substitute teacher day.
I find 10th graders extremely mysterious.
I didn't care.
But go on.
I didn't care about mystery.
okay.
I just didn't want to learn anything.
All right.
I'm just saying, like, I went back and, like, when did AV make the big jumps and progressed to a point that they were doing things that a few years
talking about
before,
4K?
No,
Talking about 4D.
4K was not that. 4K is the opposite of that. But from like 2012 to 2015.
What?
Where the hell?
Hear me out. Hear me out. In that time period, we got beamforming mics from Clear One. We got lampless projectors.
Oh, the legal
We had lawsuits.
We got HD base T version 2 that was taking over everything. We have every control manufacturer putting out touch panels that didn't look like Play School made them anymore. Like
I feel like that was Gen 1 of the new thing.
It was Gen 1, but Gen 2 didn't matter. Gen 2 gave us new versions of crap that came out. It wasn't this big
But was
jump.
it the time before that galvanized the belief structure of what AV folks are doing? I'm talking about like pulling oddball, wackadoo, multi-core cable through walls and ceilings that like
Justin, what's that cable called?
Yeah,
But that experience was just Like,
well, I'm not saying about the totality of the experience it created. I'm talking about the work that was being done.
The work.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to do that work. That wasn't the work that got you noticed.
But I think that's what made the belief that the AV people were doing all this. They got these weird cables, and they got. I mean, go look at any like off-the-shelf weird Cisco Polycom wackadoo thing. 323.
I could murder someone with that cable.
That's what I'm saying. Like all that shit give it to some IT guy. They're gonna be like, don't even fucking show me that. I don't want anything to do with that. That's black arts that you guys deal with. That is not what we do. And like when was that? Because I think that's where people believe the AV person, and that's what they still think we're doing that. That's what's going on out here.
It was
that seems very 90s to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the end of analog and the very beginning of digital.
No, that was terrible time in my life.
No.
Yeah, it was bad. We're not arguing it was
pulling
good.
skew-free cable and DVI shit. I didn't want to do any of that.
There it is.
I didn't want to do that.
Nobody did, but that's the point.
Yes.
I think
you had to understand
all
the voodoo. And I know, like, when I was going through college, right, I was one of the last ones that had to edit on tape and in a nonlinear. And that was such a weird transition, and you really had to understand how analogs all worked, how the CCDs all worked, and then you transitioned into this. Oh well, you just plug this one cable in, and you get ones and zeros and magic. And
see, I don't know the date, but I want to say it's pre-structured cable extension. That, whenever that is in my mind, is kind of that's the pinnacle of like all the oddball craziness that led to all these custom panels and all kinds of over-the-top soldering and how fast could you guys do all that, like that stuff. Where your proprietary
it's odd, but there's no mystery to that. Like, it's just low voltage. Like, that's easy to understand.
You say there's no mystery,
Give
but
that to some
it's
IT
so
consultant.
far outside the skill set of what the other people working in the enterprise do from day to day that
And
there
that's
is
why
a
I think-
certain, if not mystery, mystique.
Yes,
and that's why the pushing of the carts and when people started to understand that it was just an HDMI connector and they could get a picture.
I mean,
then it became quote easy. Digital cameras and on your cell phone became quote easy.
I still think this is all relative. There's a lot of mystique about me taking my car and getting my damn oil changed anymore. So I'm just saying, like, it's all relative on your experiences and what you know and what you don't know. Because those cars are not fun to work on these days. Do you ever open your hood of your
Some
car
of them you're
and
not
look at
legally
it?
allowed to, John.
Like, I didn't even know what's going on there. So it's terrible.
Shoelaces and zippers and stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at it as like when did it really take not just the average nerd was doing that work, right? You couldn't just take any old computer support person and say, hey, would you go ahead and figure out how to solder up this RS-232 and
You needed
and
a
connect
specific
that,
nerd.
Yes, it was. You had to have an AV specific nerd.
Yeah.
Broadcast engineers was actually still a viable profession instead of a dying profession.
Yeah.
But right, because you had to have a very specific skill set in order to do it. Nowadays, everybody thinks at Amazon, and you can just do it.
The problem's
think
not
they
with
can.
Now
stuff.
we argue all the time that just because you think you can doesn't mean you can. But
See,
back
I
then,
just-
you really had to know.
I'm just saying that right now there's like a interlacing between the nerds and IT and the AV nerds. I think there was the same thing back then. It was just an interlacing of
interlaced nerds.
Well, like you
Not
could
progressive.
get the same
Again,
skill
that is a
set.
topic for AV Super Friends After Dark.
We go frames, not fields, Larry.
Yeah.
We're
You could
progressive,
get
not
the
interlaced.
same skill set in the telephony group or the low
The
voltage
telephony
group. Like there were other guys out there that could solder, not just us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, not saying
There
there's not.
were.
Okay. Let's
Not anymore.
Back
go
then,
around real quick.
yes, now there's more IT.
Have you in this room here? Have you pulled individual strands of like 5-wire cable and terminated those during your career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay. See, and now if you were to give that same 5-wire cable,
Wait.
Consultant, yeah,
You prefer
there's
terminating with the one piece or the 3-piece kits?
3-piece.
Oh,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
you gotta
deal.
start
Yeah,
Yeah, the whole kit.
the whole thing. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like that is like because you several of you just dropped out, right? You don't want to deal with that, and like that is a proprietary skill that you would just wish that upon somebody.
I don't know. You can
Even
follow
just-
instructions and
See?
Whoa,
Yeah, just-
But you need
slow
specific
down.
tools.
Yeah.
You need-
but then the instructions are with the tool
That's
set. You
weak.
just do that,
Right,
and then
but who else has that tool on your campus?
No one has that tool on my campus right now. Like
What?
that doesn't really matter.
How do you
Well,
not have
no,
one?
you may have a different version of it if you're doing SDI.
You're not doing
things like
SDI?
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But that's not the tool set that did those.
But I think that was probably to me. Everybody had to do a lot of that, right? And that was an AV thing. We're pulling all that in there, and then your RS-232 control cable running parallel to that. Like that was very point to point in nature, and we all had those very unique niche skill sets that, trust me, the IT folks did not want to be doing that type of labor at the time, and it was very labor intensive. And I feel like that's where the belief structure came from. These guys are coming in here with their Torah grade, yada, 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 and their specialty tools, and they're doing all this stuff. I don't want anything to do with that. That looks like a lot of work to me. There's boxes and shit everywhere in the room. Like, I'm staring out of that. And I feel like that's the AV mystique. And like, it was funny because I think you're not wrong on the dates though, Larry. I think it's probably a nudge before that, I would believe. For, like I said, the extension and the IT-ification of all of this. But the old school point-to-point days. And there's probably folks in here that are like, oh, I'm take this back to the very beginning, but I don't know. I still get the belief that that's what people think is going on in AV with the AV folks. So you put an AV in your title, that's what people believe you're doing.
No, I agree. I had a conversation with the campus leadership not too long ago because we're trying to kind of reclass jobs. And their thought process was, well, all you guys do is set up the projector. Like, whoa, time out.
Take it out of the box, put it up there, you're done.
That's
Right, that's all we're doing.
1.3% of our job.
Right.
Yes.
We do as much cable pulling as infrastructure. We do as much computer support, and we dabble in all kinds of networking. Yeah, but you just put up the projector.
Right.
Okay. But
Where's your
Mark, I
certificate?
agree with you.
Yeah.
But because we now our skill set blows up into all these areas, different areas, that's why I go back to the days when, I mean, you had to understand AV at the end of that analog and beginning of the digital. And now that could be, probably Mark, you and I are probably in the same time frame, that late 90s, early 2000s.
Yep.
I don't know, 2012 seems a little late, but
I feel like there's a lot of good technology out there at that point.
Yeah, well, I was like, at that point, the boxes we were putting up were doing things we could never do before.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when it was hard for people to understand.
okay.
Experientially,
Wait, you're
yes,
miking or you're picking up audio in this entire room with just that?
that one little thing.
You're transferring this digital signal across the building? Like, that's when the mystery and the skill set went beyond, yeah, we can terminate this cable that anyone can follow instructions and terminate. And it became an independent skill set that we could market.
But is that also the thing that made it seem quote unquote easy? And I'll use the term because we got to put those in there for effect. Is that what made it easy that then made people believe, well, anybody can do that? And that's
No,
just
I
an
think
IT
that came afterwards when the consumer aspect
yeah.
of it came out. When anyone at their home could get the same experience.
Yeah.
Well, but
Oh,
Larry,
the
there's still a lot of
same-
people
oh.
who still
Air
assume that
quotes.
any sort of network-based transport, whatever, can just plug into the network and work, and then they wonder why it's
Exactly.
not. So
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it
that has
kinda works.
devalued that mystery so much.
it works until it doesn't, Jamie.
Yeah.
Well, also, like you get into like just the tools. You mentioned the tools before, like your tools from like late '90s. You know, I'm going to bring up like a vector scope or some weird thing like along those lines. Like, are you still using those same tools today? I mean, we are in like broadcast,
Yeah.
but not in like AV proper anymore. Like, how do you troubleshoot an analog signal versus digital? Right, and getting into those kind of questions, like how do you know in these new, and like there was a little more what seemed like art than interpreting these weird ass images and telling me what's going on here versus now it's like, is it there or is it not? It's not.
Yeah.
Okay, now what? Right, and so there was a little bit of that mystique, like we said. So I don't know. It was reflective, I guess, in my regard.
Yeah, there's still a lot of sorcery in the pro audio world. I think that mystique still lingers in that discipline where there's a lot of by ear like amazing things that you can do with active acoustics and AI, but also a lot of by ear calibration still.
Well, to your point, Rachel, I would argue that all audio is still in that mystique world because anytime that
There's some people
the
out there just say,
WKUIT
no, the computer
people
says it sounds good, Justin. It sounds good. It's
anytime
like,
the IT people
sounds like
I didn't
Like,
change anything.
Yeah.
we're working on some kind of project. Oh, here we go. It's the managed PC. It's got to be something on the USB. I literally do not change anything. I wear pants and I don't touch my damn volume knob or gain or anything. I don't know. Everybody stay off my
Comfortable
ass.
with you
You can't
talking about
prove either
knobs
of
and
these
pants.
things
Man,
from your remote
okay.
location.
Look,
It's ridiculous.
my ears are perfect. I tune a room exactly to the
My
level
point is-
of ringing that I hear every single day. from all
Anytime-
those years of headphones.
IT does something in a like, hey, we might need some help with audio. Oh, you got the video side right, I see, but you need some help with audio because So there's a little bit. I agree, Rachel. Going back to the original point.
What about the pants?
Yeah. Apparently, people out there think that I don't wear pants. So
That's because you've told them.
What
Today
else?
you do.
Show.
All right.
You all told them.
You've proven that you're wearing pants
That was
today.
a dangerous
100
move there.
episodes in, and you proved it.
Yeah.
Wearing pants today.
I've always
Special
got
occasions, 100 episodes.
something
you-
on, shorts or pants. It just depends.
Notice you've
on-
never stood up before.
It's always something interesting.
I've never had to
I
stand
take it all
up.
back.
I never thought
this
it was.
is the most AV has ever been
I
right
never
now.
thought this was a whole issue, but apparently it is.
It's never an issue. All right. So
Did we solve it?
We solved
No.
it.
It was
Started
last
with the F connector on the game consoles where it all started.
With the switch between TV and game.
Yep.
I would say probably there is something to be said about looking at a time, kind of starting with that analog to digital switch into the IT-ification of AV. And it's like, it's a longer process, I think. But there was a lot of moving parts where we were still doing a lot of analog stuff and mixing with digital. Mark, you remember the first couple of systems we deployed where we still had a dedicated analog audio run because we couldn't reliably embed digital audio over the HDMI, and we had to like
trick it,
side horn the analog audio with it, and it was a mess. So
that still happens a lot. Analog.
No, it's perfect now.
I'm still doing a little bit of that.
Right.
Unfortunately.
We're going to set up a whole booth at InfoComm. It's just going to have all the glory days AV technology at it. It's going to be great.
I believe there's an entire hall of that stuff still.
We'll get a cease and desist order from a certain audio company.
No way.
Oh, a legal company who used to make microphones?
Make stuff, yeah.
Legal firm.
All right, well, that was a little bit of...
Okay, well, a little trip through memory, trip down memory lane. We're going to take another break here. I've got another one of our guest roast appearances here.
Oh, my God.
We can enjoy that. And then we'll come back and talk about our favorite moments from the last 100 episodes. And then we'll go home.
This is a long show. Can we take a break?
No.
I feel like we need
Taking a break.
Okay.
Right now.
Now.
The AV SuperFriends, the perfect blend of overanalyzing tech and underachieving humor. If you've ever wanted to hear 5 AV experts passionately argue about why your Zoom meeting failed while dodging personal responsibility, this is your show. It's like The Avengers, but everyone's superpower is explaining why someone else screwed up the wiring. The hosts. Mark, the guy who swears he doesn't need to read the manual because he's been doing this since before Crestron was cool. Spoiler, Crestron was never cool, Mark. Jamie, always pushing for the cheapest solution, even if it involves duct tape and a prayer. It works until it doesn't. Might as well be his motto. Larry, the voice of reason, which would be helpful if anyone actually listened to him. Every episode, you can hear the slow death of his optimism as the others derail any chance of staying on topic. Chris, the self-proclaimed jerk of the group. But honestly, his rants sound like rejected white papers from 2012. Keep it simple, he says, before going on a 20-minute tirade about why HD-based is still superior to AV over IP. Justin, trapped in the metaverse and, honestly, still more grounded than half the team. If he's not the ghost of bad tech decisions, he's definitely haunting your bandwidth. The show. The podcast is like a poorly grounded XLR cable. There's a constant hum of chaos, punctuated by the occasional feedback screech of a bad hot take. They say they're off the rails, but honestly, when were they ever on them? Every episode is a masterclass in turning a simple topic into an overcomplicated dumpster fire. Let's discuss the future of AV and education, they say, and somehow it devolves into a fist fight over whether VGA cables are still useful. The audience. This podcast is for the true AV nerds, the ones who keep spare cables in their cars just in case, and use phrases like, latency isn't the problem, you are, in everyday conversation. It's also for people who enjoy watching 5 adults argue over tech like it's the Super Bowl of insignificance. Seriously, these guys could make a patch cable sound controversial. Can't wait for the groundbreaking discussion on how HDMI cables are ruining education. Riveting stuff, guys. In conclusion, if you're into AV and like your podcasts equal parts informative and exhausting, the AV SuperFriends have you covered. Just don't ask them to agree on anything, except maybe that the local IT guy definitely did it wrong.
I think it's a fair assessment. By the
I
way,
feel personally attacked because I feel like we did a lot of work that last segment trying to prevent Larry from making a point. And also, I am currently working with somebody on a paper about why HDMI ruins everything. So
and HD-based is superior
that really
to AV over IP.
hurts my feelings.
are these assholes that keep sending these things in?
That was me.
Is that you and your rock band, Larry?
Yep. His hardcore
Your
band.
dirty ass rock band.
Apparently, that's a thing too. People think that I'm in a
real.
rock band.
It is.
You
for
are
good
in a
reason.
rock band.
You are in a rock band. Yeah.
The drummer of all people.
People walk up to me at the last conference and say, "You in a rock band?" No, I'm not in a rock band.
All right. Before we get to our favorite moments, I do have a couple of things by the numbers here. So I did some parsing of 100 episodes of nonsense. And yes, to alleviate the question, this is episode 100 of Off the Rails. We have done over 200 total published episodes on our feed, so there's way more stuff out there. So I understand the numbering's a little confusing. The total number of guests we've had on this show, 32 over the course of 4.5 years.
That seems low.
That does seem
It does seem low, but a lot of repeat guests. Keep that in mind.
Yes, we have some
Oh,
multi-time.
okay.
The total number of episodes where I was not the host,
Ooh, that's not
One.
7.
Right.
That was rather recently.
It was recent. I was still on the show, but I was in Iowa.
Yeah. Yes.
The number of custom art pieces we've published with this was we do a new art piece for every episode, 49. Here's a fun one. Total length of all the Off the Rail episodes. Anyone want to take a gander at this? If you listen to them back to back.
Total length?
Are we
That's a lot of
are we
time.
supposed to
You're
go
gonna
in
put
hours or days?
7 days.
It is in days.
7 days. 7.
Justin, you're high.
I was going to say 5.
Anyone else?
Well, now I got to do math. I was going to do
$1.
172 minutes.
I'm gonna go over by 1 and call it 6 days.
So 4 days, 11 hours, 31 minutes, 27 seconds. But if you want to know how much total number of stuff of everything we released in the entire feed, back to back, 6 days, 13 hours, 55 minutes, 19 seconds.
Is that all our Zoom bullshit too during
No,
COVID?
does not include any of the Zoom bullshit.
Okay.
So.
Let's start from the top. Let's take our collective notes and just start reading.
Start at the top and go from there. We should publish that as a book. All right. Anyone just says, Mark's joking about it, but anyone who doesn't know, we have a 300-page document which is simply called meeting notes that starts from like 5 years ago. And it's,
And when you hear Chris say it's in the notes, that's where it is, folks. It's in that.
It's all there.
It's not plural. It's singular.
ChatGPT
It's
even
starting to
did,
work like Google. Like I don't go to the drive anymore and like search for anything. I just type in what I want.
We have our own trained AI.
I can't find it.
it's a single document. So, all right.
Yeah.
The shortest episode we ever did for Off the Rails was 38 minutes, 45 seconds. The longest
What was
episode,
that?
which
This one?
Another show.
it's not this one. The longest episode we ever did was 1 hour, 26 minutes. The average episode, 1 hour, 5 minutes.
26. That had to be the Paul Zealy one.
Could burn.
Or the USB one. No, I mean, those are the ones we went long because we were talking to a guest about really complicated things, USB and network infrastructure, and those went long.
Yeah, they did.
Well, we solved it too.
Of course we did.
Well, everything.
Never
Yeah.
talked about it again.
You mentioned ChatGPT a minute ago. I did ask ChatGPT to summarize the show.
They know us.
And that's where those
the
commercials came
ChatGPT
from.
people
It
know
described
us.
it. It described it as yes. I called ChatGPT just on the phone.
And they were like, "Hey, we
Hey,
know you
Sam.
all. You're in our radar."
It was described as a tech-focused exploration of audiovisual challenges and innovations in higher education. The podcast delves into practical AV issues professionals encounter,
Practical.
such as managing
don't
AV
listen.
systems,
That's-
network configurations, and classroom technology integration. It often highlights real-world scenarios involving AV solutions, mistakes, and learning experiences, blending technical insights with humor and relatability. Recurring themes include team collaboration, technological trends, and the impact of AV design on learning environments. So I think we're pretty well on brand there.
But no goggles. Like, surely.
That sounds like the intro to like a
Yes.
a
Good insight,
webinar,
Jamie.
this is, hey.
No, that's not right.
Discussions frequently tackle broader issues like procurement, equipment obsolescence, and the intersection of
Procurement?
technology with user experience.
When the hell have we?
Justin, you talk nonstop about procurement.
Yes. Ramp models,
about-
remember?
I just say no. That's like broke money. Like procurement processes.
You need
is
money
not
before you can
something
do any of
we
these things. Yeah, I got it.
Talk about a lot.
Episodes feature storytelling, advice, and reflections on navigating the complexities of AV and academia, often with an irreverent or witty tone.
It's like
Irreverent is accurate.
Our top 10 episodes. The Off the Rails 8 Years No Touchy is the #1 episode.
No touchy.
Really?
Yeah. From May 17, 2022. Still the top. Don't know why. It even beats out the Halloween one this year. Then the USB one, it will universally aggravate you. Then poo-pooing signal flow. Then leadership versus actual workers. Then legacy end of life.
That was a good one.
I'm seeing a theme here on the titling. Zero finger interaction. NDI is the donut spare. What color is your Volvo? This requires a 7-inch deep box. And the renaissance of creative projection.
See what you're missing out on, Rachel?
That was
You're missing out on
so-
all these good journeys.
So there you go. There's some insight from the last
This
100
requires
episodes.
a 7-inch deep box. Broke me. I'm out. I'm done.
Did we really do that? We named the show
True.
after
At
that?
the end of the day, it's
Hey.
absolutely true.
Listen, Rachel, 10 minutes and a tweaker handles a lot of issues with that.
Oh my god. Never mind. It's
10
been
10
AV Super
minutes with
Friends
the
After
tweaker.
Dark the whole time.
We're not hot desking here.
Yeah, the hot desking one it's coming soon.
Yeah, where's that at in the rankings?
It's that.
For anybody who doesn't know, the way we do show titles is it's based on what people have said during the show, not meaning it to be a show title. And the only other rule is if they call it out as that would be a good title, immediately eliminate it from contention for being a title. So just from today's episode so far, granted we had Justin telling a very colorful metaphor, I've probably got maybe close to 30 possible show titles here.
Holy
And
smokes,
if you
that's
come
a
on
this
lot.
show,
That's the most ever.
If you're a guest, we let you decide.
Yes,
we
and
want to
guests
do
get
this
to
live.
choose, so.
Are we going to do this
No.
live?
No.
we can't.
There's too many, and some of them are not good.
But we do publish, I would say 99.9% of them in the show notes of every episode. You can scroll down and see all our alternate titles. So there you go. All right, to the topic at hand here, favorite moments. I think we decided we'd all kind of pick a moment that was our favorite, or something we remember, something we enjoyed, or whatever, or maybe something we didn't like. I don't know.
I remember.
Who
mine.
wants to start with your top memory of the last 100 episodes?
I'll go first.
Go first.
Okay.
Mark.
Want me to
You
go first? Oh.
No.
Okay.
I always appreciated your fumbling through all your classroom levels because that was complete nonsense.
Yes.
That was what I remember the most, maybe because it was the most recent, but there's a lot of things that I probably appreciate that I've forgotten. So,
Justin,
no,
Justin, he only has one level. Like, you can't say his levels. He only has one.
No, that was me. That was the other.
Common kid
and then
apart.
his was. Yeah.
So I will actually agree with you a little bit on that, Justin, because I loved that segment of shows of how much stuff we all exposed about our cultures here.
It was
And,
really
it was
stupid too.
No, it was
Yeah.
great.
It was
how much
good and
belief has
yeah.
been set in stone because of those things, and I will never live it down. Let's just say
Exactly.
that.
It's following you around like my ghost on the show.
Yeah, it's good. And there's 100 different levels for those keeping score.
Yeah.
Well, you're not the one. I have the problem where I name them poorly and then try to shoehorn them in between later, and it falls apart immediately.
Yeah.
All right, who's next?
I'll go. One that I think about possibly weekly is the episode that we recorded live from the Infocom show floor where we were complaining about all of the different stupid buzzwords that people were coming up with to explain how their like boring nothing burgers of an announcement was actually revolutionary and cool. And to this day, I cannot look at a computer without thinking of it as a compute.
I remember that.
A lot of traction that year.
Yeah.
Well, that
Still
was the
fighting
year
that
when compute came out of nowhere, and suddenly everyone was because I think it was an Intel thing or something, and now I've even heard people unironically use the term a compute appliance, which is now more words than just saying computer.
Or how about this? If you're lazy, PC.
No, it doesn't count.
That's
It's not
the
personal.
easiest.
It's a public computer.
Like, just I don't know, whatever.
All
I
our
think mine
PCs
was
are-
the following Infocom 23, and it was the show we recorded on that Tuesday before the show floor opened.
That's very
We
specific.
found a closet or like a little cubby hole on the 4th floor.
Oh,
By the
yeah, on the top
bathrooms.
floor in
By
Orlando.
the
Yeah, yeah.
bathrooms.
Yeah,
Overlooking
and-
No,
the
the
show
first
floor.
one, Justin, not by the bathrooms. That was
Yeah.
the second one.
Yeah, we just
And
laid
so
out
we
all the
were.
stuff in
It's
there.
Oh,
And it was the first
yeah.
time all of us had actually been in the same state at any point. And we were all there recording, and it was kind of cool. And it led to the first Infocom where we were doing 2 live shows a day and perspective shows and just hitting the show floor, with purpose. And it was kind of cool. So that whole Infocom was neat.
This one. I have two memories that.
No, one.
No, you're getting 2. God damn it! Listen. So, one was
Which
the
one's
show
better?
I did when I could barely speak. When I had like the real raspy, like
You sounded like
remember that
like
show?
a drunk Kermit the
They had,
Frog
like,
or something.
COVID or whatever the hell it was. I was at
Yeah.
home, kids running around in the background, all that. So that one I remember a lot. But the show I enjoyed the most, which I'm still waiting for us to do another show, was the On Trial episode, where we tried our best to be in character as if we were in a courtroom and do the whole and represent the different sides. That one was the most entertaining for me. I felt like it was painful to get through, but we made it. But for some reason, those ones seem to ring in my mind the most as the weirdest and enjoyable and painful episodes we've had.
What technology were we debating in the trial?
I put it on my misery. I don't even know.
It was just
It failed.
Did it fail? I don't know.
I think so.
I think it was something to do with
It was
Conference rooms
XR,
or-
XR, AR, VR.
Yeah, it was XR VR,
Oh.
and we had to litigate it as if it was the next big thing that was going to take over or not. And I tried to give you all these really weird scenarios. Tried to win on technicality, as I always do. Because we're going to Spain. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. Everybody's got their VR goggles on.
Oh,
4
wait.
years later, look at us.
Vision Pro just shut down. So hey,
Look at us now.
I think the one thing that I always laugh at when I think about the shows is the white elephant gift, Rachel's painting that she gave to Mark.
We were just talking about that before the show, I think.
I mean, we've had a
Oh, it's
lot of
right
good
there.
times, and I agree with Larry, like the first time we got together. But that painting,
She did
I
not
still
follow
think about
instructions.
it all the time. And I am just waiting for the next event I go to with a white elephant gift because I'm going to get some wacky ass painting just like that to give away.
The
But remember,
background
you
on
have
that was,
inspired
it was
me
supposed
for
to be
life.
AV. It was
was
supposed to
so
be AV
funny.
related.
I misread the brief
It didn't show up for like
It showed up
4
like
months.
in February.
because it was shipped from Poland. It was
And I get this weird. I'm like, what the fuck is this box? And then like, oh, there it is.
You
and
open it, you're like, oh my God. Like it scared you when you opened it. Like, oh.
and so
because he had
out of-
forgotten how horrifying it looked.
Out of cause, it's here to remind me every day.
Yeah, I mean,
Never
we've
let
had some
down.
good shows and things, but that one moment or that whole show, really, the whack-a-mole, it's still sitting back here. I still have the whack-a-mole back here on my shelf.
Oh, I've still got my compute back here somewhere too.
See, we all still have that, but that white elephant.
I still have
gift-
this thing that used the AMX table box you stole out of someone's table.
Somebody's pissed.
That damn projector you sent me still over here on the shelf.
That projector works, by the way, sir.
I haven't turned it on yet.
that painting just
It's classic.
it's core memory, Rachel.
Yeah.
Core memory.
Also very very emblematic of my role. Like I didn't prepare. I didn't read the notes properly.
And it was perfect.
I did something completely off topic.
And it
I had
was
a question.
And it was a great addition.
As I was combing through these memories, remember when we did the session?
I
at
do.
Infocom? Remember we were preparing for the session. I don't know. Was this? It couldn't have been pre-show. Whatever. We did the draft of the room types.
Yes.
You guys remember that session where we
That
we
was
laid out all the
before
different
Larry.
scenarios and people like drafted the room they were going to design in. That was a fun exercise to get through. But it
Oh,
wasn't
that
a
was
show.
before the show.
Yeah.
yeah,
exactly.
that was before I was here.
That was the AV Design Challenge at
Exactly.
Infocom 2018, 19.
In fact, that challenge is what sparked
that's how all
Rachel to
this kind of
name
stuff
us
to
the
get in
AV
here, yeah.
Super
The
Friends.
Super Friends.
I felt like that was actually a really cool. Cause I think we got together and tried it like here at OSU. We did some.
I
test
tried it when I
rundown
was
of
out
it.
there. So
Yeah.
Larry and I were out there in early 2019, to look at your round room.
Mm-hmm.
And during that, we tried to go through some of those scenarios, and it was problematic. So.
Hey, it was entertaining. It worked. There was a group there that was like over designing everything. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
they were just going all in,
Everything.
so.
Yeah, so it was like, cool.
It's a good concept for a workshop. It really has to be managed, I think, to be effective. So.
Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes was not enough time.
No, you're not going to solve many problems in that amount of time.
So the memory that I have, that I think I was going through all these and looking through all the different episodes, and I was just scrolling through, and I was thinking about the one I enjoyed the most. It was relatively recent. It was just this summer, and it was Off the Rails 93, the ladder rack incident, which is named after a story Jamie was telling.
So many people sending
What is
messages
Mark-
about that.
What is that one?
Jamie's was the ladder rack.
Oh, Mark's was the van, yes.
And I like the story that Mark was telling about them destroying a van.
Hey, we didn't destroy that fucking van, dude.
By putting
You destroyed the
diesel.
van, dude.
That was probably the funniest thing I had heard in a long time, and I really enjoyed that. If you don't remember, you can go back and listen to it. But I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe, and it was off. Kind of had to step away. It was,
Shirley
it was pretty
from
bad.
Biamp called me. She's like, I just listened to your episode. I was dying on my drive to Vegas listening to that.
The diesel. That's right. It was the
Yeah.
Yep.
The great
dumbasses
diesel
put
hybrid
diesel in there.
experiment. Yes.
Yeah.
Shit worked, man. Come on.
Which I guess
That truck survived.
yes, the truck got all the way to where you were going and back after you
It was all the way to
Filled it
mid-Jersey.
full of
What more can
diesel.
you ask of a truck?
Yeah. Don't put a diesel
Anyway.
valve on a truck that's not supposed to have diesel in it. Moral of the story.
So that was, I think that's all our favorites. Anybody else have anything else they want to say about the last 100? Because we ain't doing any more of these. We're done.
This is it.
We'll shut it down.
At least until
files.
next week.
Until next Friday.
That's the last one of these we're doing today.
We do have a little bit of PSA we have to give out here, though, Chris.
What?
What are we doing
Yes.
later on this month?
Oh, yeah. Announcement. So
Christmas.
we're doing our holiday special, but our holiday special this year, our Christmas special, we're doing a
It's a
live
gift to you
read.
all. Yes.
We're doing a live read of the AV Christmas Carol. It's the Christmas Carol story that we all know and love, but with an AV twist set in a higher ed environment. Gets a little maudlin in there, but we're gonna do a live read of that. So I hope you'll join us at this regular time, Friday the 20th at 12:15, 12:30 Eastern, 3:15, 3:30 Pacific.
And
Yeah.
we
Wait,
have
did I get that backwards?
dedicated
Yeah,
higher
those are
ed
backwards,
budget to
otherwise.
this.
Yeah.
3 Eastern, 12 Pacific.
Yeah.
Yes. Specific.
This normal time, which is always a little drifty. So
And those of you who have heard these Halloween shows and the like, this is how these things happen. This will be live, doing the reads, and that's behind the scenes. You'll experience it with us.
Are we going to practice?
Why would the hell will be
It's
practicing?
in the notes, dude.
Yeah.
Justin, we've
in
been
the
practicing
notes.
for months. You just don't show. So
So, yeah.
What?
yeah.
And then we'll have a little bit of a time after the read to spend with you all. If you guys want to join us and make fun of us, we'll be available. Jump in the call with us. So
And Justin will be wearing festive pants again that day. So
yes, just the festive pants.
I'll wear festive
Where he's wearing
jackets.
them is anybody's guess, but yeah.
Just wear a bow with it, man. You're fine.
all right. Well, I think that's all we have for episode 100. There it is. We've done it. Who would have thunk it when we came up with this crazy notion 5+ years ago that we'd still be talking
Thank you to
politely
all
to
the
each
people
other.
who actually download this and fill up their devices with this kind of data. Thank you all. We wouldn't keep doing it if you guys weren't downloading it. So,
That's probably not true.
yeah, you're probably right. We'd be meeting anyway. I mean, nothing else.
We have Zoom calls that say otherwise.
Yeah,
We have hundreds of hours of Zoom calls prior to this being a podcast.
Oh,
Oh.
well,
All right. Well, I'm going to roll us out of here.
roll us out of here.
Let's
Again,
do it.
thanks
And you
again,
all
everybody.
can share your last
Nobody's calling. God damn it.
poignant moments or whatever. But
I've got to get going and packing up for the 4D movie experience tonight.
you going again?
I'm going again. We're going to do it.
Double
No,
down. All right.
just joking.
Going to drop acid this time. Then going all in.
That'll make it better.
Jesus Christ.
And we're out.
I'm going to have a heart attack. See you in the afterlife.
Thanks, everyone. Well,
Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV SuperFriends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.